many people think about their organizations and the role that they play in those organizations, and they tend to think in a very structured and a very siloed manner in terms of the kind of tasks that they do in the organization. But if you really step back from that and say that as an employee, what is my proposition to my firm or to my employer or even directly to my boss, and what is the true value that I'm adding to the organization? I think people then start to realize that even an employee is like a brand, and that brand within the organization stands for something. So as you progress along your career in an organization, to ask yourself, what does this brand that I represent, what is it delivering? What is the value it is delivering to the organization? Answering that question is very important. And what I have realized is that the wisdom of what my boss once told me was that the customer will pay you and pay you well for doing difficult things, not for doing the easy stuff, which he can do himself, or in fact would get very rapidly commoditized, even if it is being done by somebody else. And I find that that is really, really true. So what is true for the customer translates back as a mirror into what an organization values in an employee. So my belief is that as an employee, if you choose proactively to pick up the most difficult, the most unglamorous, the most complex, perhaps the riskiest assignments that are available in an organization, the brand that you stand for as an employee starts to get associated with a person who's a problem solver, who can fix things, and who can add, therefore, tremendous value at any point in time. Whereas people who tend to prefer to do what is seen to be the easier or the more glamorous side of the business, I think often don't realize that the demand-supply situation is not working in their favor. So I think organizations, for instance, who insist that people should go through a longish sales stint before they start to do brand work, or organizations who say you must go through the grind of doing branch and operations work before you start to do client relationship work, I think those policies are very well conceived, and that employees, instead of resisting such policies, should actually embrace them, because not only does it serve as a very good training ground for them in the initial years, but it allows them to actually take up assignments which are, as I said, more difficult and less glamorous in the future, which actually adds a lot of value to the organization. And then at the end of the day, what they need to realize is that every boss builds a team around him, which is a complementary set of people. And if you're the only person in that team who loves to do the dirty work, you'll be in huge demand in the organization always, because you're always adding that value. So I think it's an important lesson, particularly for the youngsters when they join an organization.